So Dree, what was it that made you say yes to the role of Jane?
My manager, Alan Mandel, who I trust more than anything on his opinion for scripts and stuff like that, had sent this over to me, and he was like, you need to read this script. And I really fell in love with this character, Jane, who is kind of like, you know, I think she's struggling to know who she is a little bit, and I think that she's also,
Yeah.
it's also this, I love the story of how she's creating this bond with this older woman who she doesn't know, and how she's like, she really goes for it, and building this like relationship and this kind of mother figure for her. And I think that at the end of reading the script and something, it just leaves you wanting more a little bit, or it leaves it almost, and watching the movie leaves kind of like a satisfied, but like, I don't know, makes you want to do something a little bit.
Right. How would you defend Jane if someone were to judge her? Because there were so many beautiful parts to her, and I'm sure there are people that might judge her. But how would you defend her? Suppose she was a friend of yours.
Listen, I met a lot of girls who were actually in the porn industry.
Wow.
And a lot of them are so normal, like they it's a job for them, and it was actually nice to see that they weren't as messed up as I actually thought that they were going to be, or not so unstable. And some of them are, but a lot of them are, you know, they wake up, they go to ballet class, they take care of themselves. It's their job. And as much as for me, I don't agree with the profession in a sense, like I wouldn't do it, but I think that a lot of these girls deserve to not be as judged, and I think that especially in the acting industry, in any industry, there's a lot of judgment, and I think that's very hurtful. And I think that we need, you need to discover a little bit on your own before making prejudgments about people.
And why was Jane so attracted to Sadie, aside from wanting to return the money and maybe not knowing how to handle Sadie's initial rejection? Why was she so attracted to her?
I think that she was attracted to, I think that because she was so bitchy to Jane initially, and finding, you know, the money and stuff like that, instead of returning it to her, wanting to figure her out, this woman. And I think that it was almost a game in the beginning, and then she also started to build this relationship with this woman and really start to love her. And I think because Sadie was so resilient against actually letting Jane in, that it was kind of almost like she had to get there in some way.
It was a challenge.
Yeah.
Interesting. Besedka, which scene in the film for you was the most emotionally moving? There were so many looks that you portrayed where a word was you didn't utter a word, but you could just see a million emotions. Which one scene really resonated with you?
When she'd drive up in the car, and the bus wasn't, the taxi wasn't there, and she said, "Oh, so I can help you," and I can feel my doubt and resentment, and you know, what is she really doing? And then she comes to my house and helps me. It's like I'm not used to this kindness, so I don't know what to do with it. I'm kind of upset with it. But the second time she comes, I begin to count, and then when I'm pushing the cart down the street, and she's, Sadie, I'm here. And I thought, there was a kindness, there was a
persistentness, yeah. Like I wasn't going to give up in a way.
Yeah. And so that feeling of her being there was kind of like, I never had it, and all of a sudden it's there, and I'm tangling with it on my angry side and my kind side. So it's hard for me to see this balance until the very end when she throws the things down. I'm still being bitchy, but I'm so taken in by her that I'm, and then she brings out all those cards. I just think that's kind of amazing how hard she tries to be friends.
And the roles come to you as Sadie now, at this time in your life. Why do you think now was the best opportunity for you to act? Had you wanted to be in front of the camera? Why now?
The whole thing to me was and is when Shi-Chin came to me and said, you know, you'd be really good for a part in a picture that we're filming. And I really think we could. My inner voice was going, what a, I mean, doesn't she realize that I'm an old lady? I mean, what is with her? All this is inside, but she insists on the picture, and I'm like, she's got to be kidding. This is a joke. And then she said, well, they like you. Could we have your phone number? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, the joke's getting bigger, and maybe could it be real? So it was a surprise, real big, huge surprise. Could I do it again? I don't know. I had such a good time with her. I don't know if I could do it. And I think Sean was brilliant in getting what he wanted from the characters.
Absolutely.
And I think he did a fascinating job in bringing that out. Because I saw in myself, I don't think I could have done it, but he, when I'm looking for her dog, I'm crying because it's real. And that scene was, for me, I could do it this minute because all I thought about was the pictures on TV of animals that are and that's what made me feel the loss of the dog and the pain. So when she comes to get him, I'm so pissed at looking for him all day. I'm an old bitch again.